Hello everyone, welcome back to our Unity tutorial series on how to create a maze. And we were creating our maze in Maya and we're going to import it into Unity. So where we left off is we created this simple corridor, which is just kind of an introduction to our maze design. In this lesson we're going to create kind of a junction. So keep in mind that this is a modular design, which means that we're creating one piece with the intention that we're going to be replicating this all the way through the maze so that we can put our maze together. So this could be one of many corridors. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a junction. So where this, if you're running down this hallway, there would be like a four-way split or a three-way split or however you want to have that. But we're going to start out by using a cube. So let's create yourself a new one. Go create polygon primitives and we'll start with a cube. Okay. And this cube just kind of drops in the center because it's where our default starting location is. It's at the origin still. Okay. Alright, that's good. A little bit bigger though. Let's go ahead and go with something like that. That's good. Maybe a little too tall though. I like the idea of having like a bigger ceiling so when you come through an empty corridor, the room you're connected to isn't quite as claustrophobic. It's going to be a bigger split like this going three different ways. Kind of like the idea of having a little bit of a higher ceiling. Okay, but the idea is that I want this to be level with the bottom here. Not that it has to be for, since we're sending these all over to Unity individual pieces, so it has to be, but it'll help with my next part here, which is making the doorway. Okay, so I want this here to fit inside this, so I'm going to create a doorway. It has to remain in polygons. I can't get this into an n-gon, otherwise it's not going to work on our game engine. So I'm going to go to my inputs and go to where my subdivisions are. I'll go to subdivisions on width. I'm going to go 3, 3, and 3. I think actually, let's see here. I have to go a little bit more, but I'm going to add those in manually, I think. The idea is that I want to match the vertexes up with the border of our door here. Okay. Let's see here. We'll just go through and delete off these interfaces because these are going to be essentially our doorways. And this one here is in our way. If I could just delete these three and I can see the one I'm after. Okay. Now I really only need to do this to one. Then what I can do is I can extract in this one wall here and replicate it for the other ones. So there's more just a visualizing practice, not that I'm going to have to do the same thing over and over again. Okay, so vertex, I'm going to go ahead and snap these corner vertexes to the corner of our corridor. So I'm just holding down V, middle mouse button drag with the vertex selected, and that should pop right over to the wall there. Okay, we'll do the same thing on this side. Select this vertex, hold down V, middle mouse button drag until it pops over to this side. Okay, that's good. We'll do the same thing on the top here. We're going to snap those ones over to our top of our corridor. Okay, so now the only thing that's left is this venting, this interesting piece we did up here. And I was experimenting inside of Unity. I did realize that the normals on this one, since we created it off the floor, then we forgot to flip the normals. So inside of Unity, when you try to bring this in right away, you would notice that from the top you can see the ceiling, but when you go underneath it, on the playable side, you won't be able to see the ceiling. So we're going to fix that right now. We're going to, before I forget, go to Mesh Display and reverse. Now this whole thing's black, but on the inside, we can now see the textures on the inside, which is what we're really after. Okay? Alright, moving on. Okay, so we need some more geometry to match up with the venting up here. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're going to go to insert edge loop, and we'll drop in. Oh, that's not the way I want it. It's doing that because I already moved the side vertexes. I could adjust. Yeah, let's just go ahead and adjust. It'll be easier to do it that way. We'll take these ones and scale them apart. That way the edge flow isn't trying to compensate for the curvature that we have there. Okay, so that's more straight up and down. So we have 1, 2. I think we're going to need 2 more on the inside to is we have what you doing? Let's go inside here. Look at the sub menu for let's do relative instead of equal. So that way it'll go where I tell it to. Okay, something like that. Okay. Back to our vertex mode. We're going to select our first vertex here, hold down V, or go W first for translate, hold down V, and we're going to snap to that one. Go to the next one here, we're going to snap to the next one up here. That's good. Snap to this one up there. Okay. And then our last one, snap to that one. Okay. Okay. I see what's going on here now. Those silly edge loops, I can still fix them. Select this edge loop. Really, it starts from up here, that's the problem. Okay. So if you guys don't have this problem, don't worry about it. You don't have to follow along. In fact, is what I'm going to do, just to save myself some hassle, since I'm planning on doing this anyways, I'm just going to delete off the back half face here. That's really what causes the issue, is that for some reason it was, when I started moving these around, it wasn't doing it on the other side equally. Probably because I had equal distance on instead of relative. So we'll just take these guys here, move them off. We'll do the same thing with these guys actually. Cut these ones here. We'll just straighten this whole thing out. Everything will be back to normal. If this happens to you, please don't just ignore it and say, ah, well, you know, it looks okay in this one spot, but the fact that all the vertexes run together is no big deal. It is a big deal. You don't want your mesh to get dense like that for no reason, just because you're lazy. Every polygon takes some kind of resources, so having them all densely nested like this for no reason at all is a waste of resources. And it also sometimes looks bad on your base mesh. Okay, so now I should be able to take this one minus this vertex down here. Okay, so we take these vertexes here. Yes, I'm spending a little bit of time fixing this. Sorry about that. Just using my scale tool just to straighten these guys out. Everything is now back where it needs to be. Last set. Okay, there we go. Straighten that out. Push it back. Okay, there we go. Now we're back in business. Okay. So now we have this matched up with our corridor. Now we want there to actually be I'm kind of like a lip to the door. We're not going to actually make doors to this because the maze would make it to where like if we were doing that, then we actually have to have doors that open and close. And we would like to do that in a later project, but right now, having the doors actually in there could actually pose its own problem. So I'm just going to select this entire edge loop for our door corridor we created for our junction. I'm going to click this little power symbol here. That'll take it from local and turn it back to a world translator. Okay, pushing it out just a little bit, so now I have this collar. Okay, definitely don't suck it in. If you suck it in, I'll make it to where this will come up, and that'll be kind of a tripping hazard for your player. Okay, so now I have this collar. I'm going to double click. So select one face, double click the next face. I'm going to, let's see here. I don't want the bottom here coming up, so I'm going to deselect that one. I'm going to extrude. Okay, bring it back to a global, so I can turn on my scale. Scale this together a little bit. So now we have this ribbing that goes around here. That'll kind of indicate at the end of the corridor that you are now entering another area. Something like that. Okay, that's good. Alright, so what I need to do now is I need to actually kind of take what I did here, and instead of having to do the same process over and over again, I'm just going to select the faces here, including this one down here. Okay, and I'm going to do a mesh, or edit mesh. We're going to go down to the faces, and we'll go to duplicate. So that'll take what I just did here, and make it into its own object. Okay. There we go. There's its object. I'm just going to bring it down to the very end here. I need to flip the scale around, so let's do, so scale is in the X, right? Actually, before I even do that, I need to center the pivot on it. So let's go center pivot, and then we'll go to scale. We'll do -1. There we go. So it pops it onto the outside, like so. Okay. I'm going to translate it the rest of the way back. Okay, so now we have it in place. I just need to stitch it all back together. So what I gotta do is go to object mode, select both objects, and go back to mesh and combine. Okay, alright, so that's good. Now I just need to connect the vertexes up, or the edges, whichever I prefer. So I'm going to go to my modeling toolkit, and I'm going to go to my target weld tool, target weld, and I'm going to do an edge mode. I'll be faster. So just go ahead and grab these edges. Go skip every other edge. That'll make it to where this goes a lot faster. You don't have to do every single one of them. Oops, messed that one up a little bit. Okay, I think that does it. Alright, good. Take a moment and name this guy here. Let's go to object here. Let's go ahead and call this one, well, you know what? We combine this all back down, so this should be an empty object. Let's go ahead and delete history. That clears that out. Let's go ahead and call this one mesh. junction. X4. Just saying it's a four-way junction. Now, we could do the same thing we just did before here and create our own little doorway on this side. Let's say that like we want to actually change this up just a little bit. So like let's say our two sides here are going to be more of a rounded type junction. So we're going to make a different kind of corridor that's going to be rounded. So I'm going to have to add some more geometry to round this off manually. Okay. This will make it to where if your players are looking at this, they aren't looking at it thinking that every option looks the same. This might go all the way around. It might have. Alright, let's isolate this and see what I did. Don't want to waste time here. Isolate. Yeah, I did it. It stopped coming around here. Yeah, because it got to the end there. Okay, yep, that makes sense. Okay, so we'll just do the same thing on this side then. Okay. I don't need to make sure that things replicate. I can do the same thing here. I just need to make sure that it's the same amount of geometry. So when I rip it off and put it on the other side, that'll fit the same. Okay. So I do need more geometry, so we're going to have to add a few more of these guys in here. I'm going rounded. It's going to take a little bit more to make it look a little believable. So I believe the top one should transfer, so I should have to do the side ones. Okay, so there we go. Same on both sides. Good. Alright, so now I just got to manually round this out. Now this does mean that you have to be able to look at something and kind of manually round it. I only have to do it to one side though. So I'm just going to manually kind of take some of these guys here. Move all three of them up a little bit. Hopefully this one's a little bit closer than the other one, so fix that. Yes, I am eyeballing here a little bit. If you want to be very precise, then there's more precise measures you can take. But in this situation, just for demo, I don't be that precise, I don't think. I'll suck these ones in a little bit. Okay, that was good enough to me. Alright, so next thing I gotta do is the same thing I did over here. I'm not gonna wait to build a round corridor, which I will do later on. But I'm going to build the junction now. Okay, so same deal. I'm just going to, excuse me, I'm going to extrude this part here out a little bit. Okay. Let's see here. I don't need that, so we're just going to do another extrusion. I'll make it to where when we connect this, it'll have like this rim that goes up, right? Okay, that's good. Let's go to vertex mode. We're going to select each one of these vertexes, and we're going to translate these guys up, and we're going to scale them apart slightly. Okay, so that will make up our connection hub. Okay. Now what I gotta do is delete off the faces on the other side. Select them all like that from this angle. Go ahead and delete them, including these ones. Okay, delete that. And now we're going to, let's see here, did I do on this side? No, I didn't. Okay, something I'll address here in a little bit. Not worried about it at the moment. I'm going to first, look at this rim here. I did, okay, I messed up a little bit. That's okay, I can fix it really quick, not a big deal. Let's just select this rim here. We'll delete that. Let's see, I might have accidentally deleted the little inner pieces. Have to fix that as well. Oops. Okay, no big deal. Delete that too. Alright, what I want to do is I want this rim here. Okay, so I'm going to extrude this piece. Out like I did. Oops, not the object scale, world scale. I needed the inner part, and that's what I messed up on. Now this piece, I need it to be like so. Okay, that's better. Because that'll make it to where I can also do a rim on the inside. That's what my goal was there. In case you guys are like, what the hell? Why'd you do that? Okay, so let's go ahead and grab these edges, translate those up, and we'll scale them apart slightly, like this. Let's do it like that. That's good. Okay, and since I was planning on doing it anyways, I may as well do it at the same time here. So I'll just go ahead and grab this inner loop. Actually, let's do it like this. That's one side. There we go. No, I think I got it anyways. Damn it. This is what I didn't want to have happen. I don't want this side. I just want it on the side. It's okay. Just have to have a little patience. Hopefully I'm not deselecting anything on the other side. Nope, no. So I just got one more extrusion here. That'll give me my inner as well. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now I can go ahead and grab all these faces. Do the same thing we did before on the other side. Underneath the ground though. Let's go ahead and take so wanting these guys. Important to only take what you want here, otherwise you're going to duplicate geometry you didn't intend to. Okay, I think that's all of it. Okay, I'm going to go to Edit Mesh, go down to Face, and duplicate. Okay, object here. And I'm just going to move it in the center of the pivot. There we go. And then back over here. I'm going to go to my channel box. I'm going to flip the scale. I think it's in the X still, so let's go ahead and hit -1. Okay, that's good. Nope, actually it was probably right the first time. It's -1 to Z. There we go. That's what it was, -1 to Z. That's right. X was the other side. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this fitted and stitched together. So we'll go to select both objects. We'll go to Mesh and Combine. Complete the history. I'll get rid of the extra group. Go back to our modeling toolkit. We'll turn on Target Weld tool and we'll go to Edge mode. Select each one of these edges here. Grab the wrong edge on that. Make sure you don't grab that outer edge. You want the inner edge. So because the bottom's not matching that. Oh, that's right. The bottom has that extrusion. I'll fix that afterwards. Okay. We'll skip that. We'll come back to that at the end. Let's see what our problem was down here. Loop manually and see where we're going wrong. Let's see here. Let's click somewhere else. Okay, so yeah, it's just it looks like something's wrong just because the geometry is so close there. It's not anything wrong though. Okay, so let's do Target Weld. There we go. Okay. Everything's good. Okay, go ahead and call this one Mesh Junction X4. Maybe we should change where the X4 position is, because if we create more than one junction, they're going to start to number those. So let's go Mesh X4 Junction. That way, when you create 10 junctions, it'll start saying Mesh X4 Junction 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we're about a half an hour in. We got our junction created. In the next lesson, we're going to go ahead and create a rounded corridor, and then we'll start to kind of put some of these pieces together and get our levels starting to be assembled. So let's go ahead and make sure we save. So go ahead and save scene as. Let's do incremental saving. So we'll do scene 1, maze modular, part 2. Save as. Continue. Okay. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next lesson.